And just getting the intro.
Hi, guys, and welcome to the Gin and Tonic Show. We help Muslims and non Muslims to handle Islam in the 21st century. My name is Mustafa, and this is my co host in the nick of time. If you wish to talk about Islam, the ideology, you have come to the right place. We cover current Islamic news, Islamic scripture, some crazy comments, and a weekly topic about Islam to examine, critique, and analyze. If this is not enough Islam for you, please drop by our Discord to discuss any further questions about Islam. We condemn any form of discrimination, violence, misogyny, slavery. However, we do embrace free speech and criticism if it's factual and correct. Thank you for stopping by and enjoy the Gin and Tonic Show.
Good
Hello.
afternoon and evening, everybody. How are you doing today? Good evening, Nick.
Good evening, Mr. Moose.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thankfully, people won't hear my breathing this time.
Yeah, no, you actually got some good quality mics on your end. I'd love to try. Uh, what do you call it? To check them out when I come to your place. But I'm glad that you invested in some mics.
Did you just do a racist, Mustafa?
I don't know. No. I just said in the nick of time. What is wrong with you, PL? What is wrong with you, people? Um, yeah, it's like what do you call it? Anyway, so we have a lot of things to talk about today. I think today is our topic is gonna be before we're gonna cover some crazy comments, some memes. I'm gonna cover some news. We're gonna react to some videos that Nick has. But we are also gonna do the topic of sleepers of the cave for today, Ashab
Yeah.
al Cave. And then after Ashab al Cave, we will do a video by Hamza's Den, actually. So we're gonna also react to that as well. So
Yeah, they
we have
made some very bold claims that actually match with the crazy comments.
yeah.
So hopefully, if you have time in the 2 hours, we'll react to that. If not, we'll put in for next week.
Exactly. So if we have time, we'll address that because that is will be what we'll be closing with. So I think we should start with
Start
the
with the
crazy
news.
comments. All
All
right.
right.
So this time we're gonna start with a little bit of comedy first.
All right.
Then we're gonna go sad, and then we're gonna go back to analysis. You know.
Yeah.
All right. Let me just
All right.
share.
So before you go into crazy comments, I'll just put the jingle on.
All right. Let me just open the.
Oh, I have the crazy comments and such open, so I'll share that directly.
Oh, I was gonna say share some the meme. Did you can you see it?
Yes.
Okay. How to get stoned without smoking weed. My. This is an ex-Muslim, my friend Fatima Said. She's also a very vocal ex-Muslim. She sent me some of these memes, and these are some brilliant memes. So I have a huge shout out for her. I've also received this meme as well. Uh, India seems peaceful enough. Sufism, but it's the Trojan horse. But in reality, it's Orthodox Islam inside. So if you guys are aware of Sufism, this is kind of like showing Sufism is just nothing more than like smokes and mirrors. Pakistanis worried about minorities in India taking a selfie. Pakistan's own Shias, Hindus, Hazaras, Ahmadis, Christians, Sikhs, and Parsis. In the background, they're burning. All right.
Yeah, that brings up the point of the Kashmiri pundits.
Exactly, like the pro Kashmir guys. Like, do you not care about your own people? All right. but she's supposed to be a kafir with half brain, half witness, and half faith, and she's in a lab. Please, Allah, help the kuffar find the cure. This is extremely relevant for today.
With Omicron.
Exactly.
Probably came out from like some dude drinking a camel urine or cow urine.
And this one, very Aisha on her day of her marriage, how everyone sees her and how Muhammad saw her. This is extremely demonic. So I hope we don't get banned for this. All right. I think Hafsa losing it. Gets caught in bed with wife's maid. How do I get out of this one? Feigns a seizure. Cue for divine revelation. Allah can said I can bone who I want. Hafsa with that the disappointed face. That's how to duct tape a crisis, folks. Say it's a divine revelation. Oh man, this is so bad. There was another thing Abul Fada mentions that explanation that Ali who washed his body after his death. Oh, Prophet, thy penis is erect unto the sky. That is the reference. This lady is like, well, too little, too late. So, all right. Now there's a Tava claim. The Quran will change your life, sir. Oh, it has. It may be an atheist. This is brilliant. This one's brilliant. And now our favorite character, Mo Hijab. His Facebook, his LinkedIn, his Instagram, his Tinder.
I wonder if on the Instagram post he writes hashtag Black Lives Matter.
No, he would write hashtag Muslim Lives Matter. You know, Muslim lives.
Oh, yeah, the remaining people are Kafirs, so.
Exactly. And this one, even though it also applies to the Super Smash Bros. Genesis.
Cain and Abel.
Habil and Qabil. There's this meme I wanted to share as well. It is not permitted to bury a man and a woman in the same grave because it's indecent. And this is what is happening in the grave. Sure. All right. What? Hang on. So this one, these are some comments I found from a post that somebody made about Aisha's marriage. So this is my friend Fatma Saeed. She's brilliant, and she's basically asking people about Aisha. Like, this is a post about Aisha's age. And she's like, would you allow your 6-year-old daughter to marry a 53-year-old man? And him wait till she's 9 to consummate it? Yes or no? And to the other person, she's like, yes, we will, soon as you tell me what the minimum age of marriage and consummation as Islam is. Please be truthful and accurate. This Danin Noor is like, how many times I have to say yes? Again, a big yes. Her choice. I love how he puts her choice in there. And this Muhammad Fuad, he actually asks, do you agree that Islamic morals were good for the time, but it is outdated for the 21st century? I agree. He's like, Danin Noor is like, ain't outdated till date, LOL. Under war situation, I'm going to support Islamic slavery stance again. Like, holy shit, at least you're honest about that. At least someone. And then this person is like, yeah, Ummul Mu'mineen, Aisha, radiyallahu ta'ala anha, give consent. What's your problem? Fatma Said asks, a 6-year-old can give their consent? Question mark. Would you give your 6-year-old daughter to a 53-year-old man and says she was capable of consent? He's like, yes, her choice.
So if she has a choice, why isn't she applying for a mortgage on a house?
Exactly. The fact that they play on the her choice, but it's only a child that
Well, if I gave a 6-year-old a choice, they aren't talking about having a husband.
oh yeah, they would wanna see which doll or which toy they want. That's the choice I would give my 6-year-old as well. If anything, my dad actually, I remember being 6 years old. My dad asking me like, what kind of superheroes I like, because he was new to the idea of superheroes. Because in Pakistan, we were just introduced to superhero movies and stuff. So I gave him like, I told him like, I liked Hercules, I liked Batman, I liked Superman. So he actually got me the 3 action figures. That is.
But
So,
isn't that pagan? Isn't that paganism?
hey man, hey man, that's I was only 6, so I don't know. I might have been a pagan back then, but I can play with dolls and toys
So
because
basically, at one point, you were a Muslim revert.
I was. Hang on, there was a comment I engaged with somebody. Um, yeah, so Fatma said it's not a crazy comment per se, but it's very poignant. She said religious apologists complain bitterly that atheists are aggressive and hostile in their criticism of their faith, yet forget that 12 Muslim majority countries have the death penalty for apostates and freethinkers, and dozens more imprison atheists for simply talking about atheism. In the absence of a death sentence or imprisonment, there are lynchings that often go unreported. Many have to hide their views and pretend to be a Muslim. Now we just present you with some arguments about your religion and you complain? And I kind of commented, I'm the little bastard that commented, yeah, we make fun of them and they want to kill us. Even the least aggressive ones complain that you're being too mean. So here we are actually targeted for being too mean. So this person is like, when such criticism is responsible for disrupting peace and inciting violence in the masses, it shouldn't go unpunished. I
So
was
how is our show disturbing the peace?
I don't know how it's disturbing the peace, how analyzing. So here's my response to him.
The only
It
one
just
disturbing the peace is Muhammad Hijab, and he's the only place he's disturbing the peace is in some lady's pants. He takes off his shirt. Like, if anyone's disturbing the peace, it's him.
he has maybe not some also some male pants too as well, because of the body he has. We have to be inclusive, Nick. Remember. So I responded to this guy. It disrupts the peace, which translates to it makes me angry so much I want to destroy things. That's why you should be punished for making me angry. Sounds about right. So this is how I accurately described, like, the the comment. I think he tried to argue with me a bit more. Hang on, I think he's like, nope, it's not about making me or you angry. It's about the extent at which you can make people angry at once. And then he tries to deflect the blame and says there's a reason British introduced blasphemy laws in the subcontinent. It was the first blasphemy law in India, and British knew what laws would be necessary in order to maintain peace in the land.
That's not peace. That's oppression.
Yeah. So, I kind of say, so I actually say, which is essentially saying these people are so brainwashed that they become collectively angry, start breaking things, and blame you for disrupting peace. So peaceful. And here you are defending their actions. It indeed is making the likes of you angry. And he's like, and he still tries to pin the blame on everything else. People still wreak havoc on land during protests after they get angry at some political party and or incident in the West. Ooh, evil West. Take for instance recent protests in France and also in the US when Trump got elected or when George Floyd got killed.
What the fuck does that have to do with this?
Exactly. And it's like many things are responsible for inciting, that's why they should be avoided. Religion is one of the factors.
All right, there's 2 points here. First, both are ideologies, which I personally am against. Like if you're like one of those like super Democrats that even if a Democrat's like sending concentration camps and shit, like you still like them, or you're a super Republican, then that's bad. And second, and most people are not that. And second thing is, if you're comparing me making an ideology, like critiquing your ideology, to some cop putting his neck on some dude and killing him.
Yeah, I actually pointed that out. First of all, I actually forgot to post the comment, but I told them, first of all, George Floyd was killed. So this was in response to somebody getting killed. So this was it was more of a human rights issue right there. So second, they didn't go and lynch or kill somebody like the way that the 2 lynching incidents happened in Pakistan that you forgot about. On top of that, in charge of the Pakistan, I told them that there was what do you call it? Let me just stop sharing the screen one sec. Stop sharing. Yeah. In Charsada, they set fire to a police station just because they had a suspect. They had a blasphemy suspect inside, and they wanted to kill him instead. So after that, there was no response because I knew that was where he can't go too far. That is.
Yeah.
So I think you also had some things to share as well.
Yeah, so I'm gonna play so I have 2 videos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna play the first one. Let's just have it load.
Islam that you might not know of. Number 1, the Mehr.
And essentially,
Don't say oh no. Don't say oh no. They're voicing their opinion. We're here to critique the opinion, right?
All right. You can go.
Here are some rights of women in Islam that you might not know of. Number 1, the Mehr.
And essentially, the Mehr is a gift that the wife gets
from the husband, but it is a gift that the wife gets to choose.
It could be any.
What is the Mehr? Like, I know this is a TikTok, so is this actually something from the Quran?
In a Muslim contract, right?
Yeah.
So in a Muslim contract, I'll just share a quick what do you call that? I'll send you guys the link. So basically, it's a contract that some Muslims enter upon in marriage. It is a gift or contribution made by the husband for his to-be wife, for her exclusive property as a mark of respect for his bride. So that at least they have, and often a larger portion. So in married marriages, the portion of meher is paid promptly, that is before the marriage is consummated, and a portion, often a larger portion, is deferred to be paid on demand by the wife or upon a divorce. So there is no time limit that the husband can pay the meher, that is, because at least in legal terms, that is, in the case of a deferred payment, like basically Canadian courts have also held up the deferment because many a times husbands have refused to pay the meher, and it's one of those things where the meher, it's supposed to be owed to the wife before consummation and after divorce. So it's a little more complicated than that. So it's exactly a gift per se, but it's actually like an owing, that is. And they agree upon the amount. So there's a negotiated amount as well. And many incidents where the husband has, refused to pay meher as well and face no consequences. So let's continue. So this is somewhat accurate, somewhat.
It could be if she wants a house, she can get a house. If she wants a car, she can get a car. If it's a sum of money.
Modesty is key, ladies.
Yes.
So number 2, inheritance.
Modesty is key. I like that the little slip in modesty is key. It's like, oh, you can't ask for too much. That is okay. Okay. And now let's go to inheritance.
Poor women, we only get to have half of what our brothers would essentially get for inheritance, but I get to keep it all for myself, whereas my brother would have to spend it on the entire family in raising our family and taking care of us.
Wait,
Number
bullshit. There is no condition on that. There's no condition for like whatever you spend. You spend however the fuck you want. Sorry, I swore, guys.
But
like,
in that case, why are you only getting half in that case? Can you not be the
exactly.
breadwinner of the family?
Yeah, and not
Why
only
not
that,
just make it to the breadwinner of the family rather than male or female?
exactly. It's like, what if he's not the breadwinner of the family?
Yeah,
So
like if he chooses to be a house dad or a
yeah,
male housewife, like why can't he? Why can't the woman get the inheritance in full, and this guy gets half the inheritance?
yeah. If anything, like
It's a valid choice. Like when I was born and my younger brother was born, my dad stayed at home for a year and was a house dad essentially at that time.
yeah,
Like, so it's a very common thing, especially in Asian communities as well. Like dads
oh
want to
yeah,
take care of their kids too. So like, why is it not based off of the breadwinner, but based off of gender?
yeah. And oh my goodness, it's just so like the poorest justification. They haven't even read the Quranic verse because it's not just the brothers, but even distant male cousins end up getting more than the daughter itself, if there are no brothers, that is. So if
Yeah.
they actually go into the details,
Again, this is a TikTok, so it's very brief. So I don't know if
yeah,
so they can't really. So I wouldn't
I
hold them
know.
to
I
that
wouldn't.
high of a standard.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, like I'm just only playing this for what I'm going to show after the video is
And
done.
here's the thing. Here's the kicker, guys. I was banned on TikTok 5 times, and these idiots get to run their mouth.
Yeah. Well, let's critique the ideology, not the people. All right.
Fine, fine, fine.
3 would be a woman and her earnings.
Everything that I make is mine, not yours. You don't even get to see what I make, and I don't have to spend it on my family.
Unless you want to, because obviously there's no
Hang on,
restriction in that
hang on,
regard.
hang on, hang on,
Exactly.
hang on.
What if you're the female breadwinner?
No, 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 no. In Muslim countries, the wife has to have permission from the husband to work. That, especially in countries like Jordan, Kuwait, the Emirates, Saudi Arabia, all Muslim countries that impose Islamic law. They have the wife has to have the husband's permission, and in many, I think, schools of thought, I recall the wife has to have permission from the husband. So
Yeah.
very first, something that you completely ignore.
Yeah. So like again, like it is a TikTok, but like it in the first place, there's not much rights about what you can do for work,
Exactly.
right? So
You have to have permission from the husband. You have to, anything you do cannot be done without the husband or male guardian's permission.
yeah.
So that to me is a big, big BS right there. All right, let's continue.
So do us men get wedding presents from the wife?
No.
Do us men get to keep all of our inheritance?
No.
Do us men get to keep all the money we earn for our family?
No. And yet they call us oppressed.
Here are some rights of
All right, so that's not the real thing here because, like, at the end of the day, you're doing this for an intellectual discourse, right?
Yeah.
About the topic. Now, I'm gonna show you something. Their comments are disabled,
Wow.
so I cannot have an intellectual discussion with them. This is why I
Wow.
asked you to like not attack them as a person just yet because I was thinking, oh, it's a TikTok. You can they have to make their points clear and concise. and they're probably
what-
going to have like a discussion in the comment section, as it's a bigger format to have a talk about it. But comments are disabled. So how can me as an audience member who has questions or concerns about what you're saying or want you to expand on something ask you to expand on that?
But what the heck? They disabled the comments? Like what? So if anything, like they don't want to have a discussion about this, but then they want to spread their misinformation, spread their stupid facts, and just tuck their tail and run away like that, and then maintain that smiley face. Now, this is
So
what I call hypocrisy.
I am not going to dox them, but I know they mentioned this in their videos as well. They live near us, essentially, you and I. We're in a vicinity where we can actually discuss this even in person, as an in-person podcast, or show, or an in-person interview, or even as an offline interview as well,
Oh
via
wow, we can do
Steam
that. We can actually
labs and
try to get
such.
a hold of these guys.
So I'm gonna do what they haven't done. I'm gonna offer them an open platform if they want to come in and discuss what we have mentioned in a more in-depth manner with people who obviously have disagreements. We can arrange for that either in person. I have the setup for it, or via Streamlabs on the show, and I will promise I give my word that they will have enough chance to have the discourse and explain their views outside of a 30-second or 1 minute TikTok video.
I think what you can do is basically it's a similar format. You would have them give them at least half an hour or so to, or however time they want to, have an open discussion and have uh, sort of like a debate or something like that.
I would not pass them off again, because that's exactly what they're doing to their commenters, right?
Yeah. So
I'll
I
give them
want.
the benefit of doubt if they
Mhm.
are looking to be intellectually honest.
Yes. Okay.
They are open to coming on and discussing, just presenting their views, because again, like I mentioned, in a 1 minute TikTok video, you're not going to be able to present your entire view. That's one of the reasons why
Exactly.
people like Bernie Sanders and like Andrew Yang lost. You're going to need a long platform to go in depth with this stuff.
Yeah.
So they're open to coming on to that open platform, and we'll give them all the time they require to present their views.
Yeah.
But we're also going to discuss
Perfect.
that with
Yeah.
them.
No. Definitely. And did you have anything else to share?
Yes, and I have one more video, and this also has
Yes.
some crazy comments as well.
All right.
So let me just pull up the video, and I hope the audience members are okay with me inviting them as well. It's just me trying to provide something that they aren't providing to us.
Yeah. No, I loved your idea. Honestly, I love the fact that you're open to.
Days ago, sent me an email.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, Mufti Mank. I
All
kind
right,
of
so yeah,
have
you were just
respect
saying
for the
something,
guy,
yeah.
but he does still make my eyes roll. But let's go with this.
Yeah, but you were just saying something. I think I cut you off.
Oh no. No, I'm actually just glad that you're willing to offer them a platform, and I actually
Yeah.
highly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
and
that.
because we're in the same area,
Yeah,
I'm not going to say that area. I'm not going to dox them. But if they want to do it in person as well, I'll even happily buy them lunch and discuss the podcast in person with them before we actually go online.
I'll
I'll
actually
even
like
offer
come
that.
with you too. If there needed
Yeah.
be, I'll come with you as well, and
Yeah.
we can discuss and explain
Yeah.
what we can do. And if they agree, if they consent, if they agree, absolutely. If not, then we tried our best.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to play this guy's video, and this video is he left Islam for atheism.
All right.
There was a brother 3 days ago sent me an email. He said, I'm suffering with this disease. May Allah give him cure. Say Ameen. And may Allah grant cure to all those who are sick and ill from amongst us and from the ummah and humanity at large. Say Ameen. So my brothers
Ameen.
Amen.
and sisters, this guy comes, sends me an email saying, you know what? I'm suffering this disease. I've been calling out to the Almighty for a long time I've been a good person. Now I'm considering being an atheist because Allah's not coming to my help. How long? Not even a year. I replied saying, my brother, I know of atheists who have diseases bigger than yours.
The fuck?
Huh? I have a disease? I didn't know that. All right, let's continue.
And they're turning to Allah. Subhanallah.
Oh, come
Look at that.
on.
Subhanallah. It's a test of the Almighty. Don't lose faith.
Oh, no.
Keep it going. We call out to Allah 1 day, 2 days, then we give up. We call out for 5 days, 10 days, 1 year, 2 years, we give up. Keep calling out when the day is right, the time is right. What you want will be given to you on a golden platter by the will of Allah. Do you believe? Yes. Well, then keep on going. Keep on praying. Keep on trying. If it's not coming, perhaps the Almighty knows that it's not the right time, or it might not be the right thing.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's not the right thing. Oh, my God. You know. P.O. Oh man, it's just so bizarre. Like, okay, this is something, it's not the right time. Okay, what if I have cancer, for example, and he doesn't send a cure? What the
It's
heck?
not the
man?
right.
So it's not the right time, so I should be dead?
Yeah,
Like-
no. At this point, you need a doctor to give you medicine at that time.
Oh yeah.
Why should you sit there and die from a disease that can
Exactly.
easily be cured?
And
This
honestly,
is what pisses me off.
I would have appreciated him and say that, if he had said something like, okay, no, you need to also strive yourself to find a cure or reach out to doctors, reach out to people and have faith. Okay, I could have understood that argument. It's understandable. But he just said have faith. It's like, oh,
If
man.
they say like if he said have faith that the doctors can help cure you,
Mhm.
like what the hell is Allah gonna do? Like come in and like do the surgery himself?
Exactly. So I would have respected that had it been, hey, the doctors, or like, don't give up just yet.
Don't give up just yet. Keep fighting. Visit the professionals. Get the help you need. Try to
Yeah,
find
yeah,
a cure. And if you really work hard and try, then when the day is right, God will give you the blessing of the cure.
yeah. So had that been that, you would have avoided it better. You would have worded it 10 times better than Mufti Mek. And usually, yes, thinking clearly, you are correct. It's always some be like, I became an atheist because my prayer wasn't answered. Never I became an atheist because Islam is full of contradictions and errors. Yes, they always shared this kind of story that I became atheist because my prayer was never answered. But they never ever talk about those who actually found the BS in the religion, because it's going to make their religion look bad. So they have to find a way to make the atheist sound like very petty, very, childish. It's like, my prayer's not answering, therefore no God. Like, kind of make them sound childish and petty. When in reality, the reasons are far more complicated, far more complex, and it takes years and years. It's a years-long journey. Took me 3-4 years to become what do you call it? Took me 3-4 years to actually what do you call it? Jesus Christ, yeah. I basically lost train of thought, but yeah, it takes years to come to that conclusion because it's so beaten down in you, like it's brainwashed in you so bad, and then this guy claims, oh, it's just like a flip.
Comments from here as well.
Oh wow, what can I say? I can't see the comments.
Mustafa, I'll send you the.
Yo, can you hear me? Nick? Hello, folks. You guys can hear me, right?
Yeah, Mustafa, my internet's being a little shitty today,
Y-
so I'll send you the link in private chat if you want to go through.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I think he went offline, but I think I'm just gonna wait for his link in the private chat. But in the meantime, I'll go to the what do you call it? Other device not connected. I think Nick is having a bit of an issue. Need to connect their stream. Yeah, it's been being a bit. All right. So what I'll do is quickly share some news with you guys. So what we passed by a date called. You guys are aware of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad. Hang on. Actually, so right
Yeah,
now,
I'm back.
perfect.
All right,
So
so I was just gonna share some of the comments on the
okay,
video
perfect,
itself.
perfect.
Can you guys see the comments?
I can somewhat see it's a bit of a blur. 1 second. I can't see them properly.
Yeah. What about now?
Oh, it's very blurry. Very, very blurry.
Then in this case, I'll copy the link and I'll send it to you in the private chat if you want to share the screen on the
Yeah, I can
comments.
share the screen for you. I can share the
Yeah,
screen.
my internet's being a
Um,
little shitty today, so
yeah. No worries, man. No worries. I think I got your link in the private chat. 1 second. I'll just pause this video. All right, let me just share the screen and let me know if you can see. All right, so here's some comments. Can you see?
yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So there's a few comments here.
So yeah, let's do the first one. It has 15 replies, and then the third one also has like 29 replies, so it's probably easier to do
All
those
right.
two.
My cure is Allah Azza wa Jal. I have an autoimmune disease that slowly but surely affects all of my organs in the skin. The pain is awful, but I find comfort only when I think that in the Almighty and listen to Al Quran. It works better than any medic. Oh, come on. Really? It works better than any medication. Instead of looking at what I cannot do, I focus on what I can do and always say Alhamdulillah for everything from the heart. Iman and the Almighty is everything. The worst that can happen is that we die in a estate of disbelief or while committing a sin. But if I die while in pain and remembering the Almighty, then I'll be more than happy and face my destiny. Battling a disease or any chronic illness is truly a war between the soul, body, and mind, and peace is only found in remembering Allah Azza wa Jal. Azza wa Jal. May Allah Azza wa Jal grant us high iman and forgive all of our sins at the time of our departure from this earth. Ameen. Oh man, this made me cringe. At the same time, I feel bad, but also made me cringe at the same time. Like, oh. And then there's comments like, "You are a living example for us, dear sis. Keep it up." And then there's Arabic as well, at the earliest Allahumma. Some have same issues. It's tough to deal with people outside where you have no idea how much faith and faith you have given me. So the second one is, whatever mercy Allah unfolds for the people, none can withhold it. And whatsoever He withholds, none can release it hereafter. He is all exalted in the power of full wisdom. Huh? So it's Quran light. Oh my goodness, it's Quran light. Of course, he's going to quote the Quran. Damn it. Translation Surah Al Fatir. After losing my family, what's with the emojis? These are the pretentious emojis. It's so pretentious. Oh man, I don't. Okay. After losing all family, sudden all wealth loss, home loss, getting divorced, suffering VV, very worse depression, anxiety, cry. No one is taking it. Then sabr, taqwa remain away as you become worse mentally sick. Is there any person who had all these tragedies still alive? Beg whole world, I want to meet such a person, but I swear such person can only help. What? are you talking about? Who faces such trial nowadays rarely survive. Don't give thousands of years. Uh, don't give thousand year examples. Need this cheap society time. Why true wise men need support, but no one will come ahead. I know, true, but what about those lost mental strength after facing constant? Yeah, he does have a point. His English is not good, but those he does have a point. What about those who facing constant? I actually misjudge him. The English could just be really bad. Getting very worse, mentally sick, can't manage anything. Doctors say that medicines work if a caretaker will support. But if no one cares, no one supports such a person, remains in the room whole life, can't face people, can't come out in the daylight, becomes worse mentally, physically, in an unhygienic state, mental torture. So suicide remains the only solution after losing family. So yeah, no, this is quite a this person. Their English is not good, but they actually raise some good points. And unemployed for 4 years, who have become worse. Lectures, advice, work if someone truly recovers. God never comes. Yeah, no, you got a good point. He sends people to save the helpless persons. Our request, whole world, listen, urgently contact me. I'm suffering from mental torture. Peacefully, brain powers expire. Listen, please. Is there anyone who can take and leave me adoption for 3 months to recover? Effort. We need urgent. Oh man. I don't know what to say to this.
God will help you, inshallah.
Oh my goodness. And then this Aman Kumar is like, I'm from India. I belong to Hindu. I started getting Hidayah 3 years ago, which comes from Allah. And I read Kalma in between. I want you guys to pray for me as soon as possible. I declare that I'm Muslim and I get risk for which I can start life as a Muslim with the help of Allah and have a humble life, live and Allah accept my prayer and give me Muslim life partner, and I will die as a Muslim. And please pray for me. May I also get Hidayah. Allah and bless the Ummah of our Prophet and get if I. Oh my goodness, that is a convert. Please. Oh man, this one's a classic. Allah is not our servant. We are proud because He is our master. I got sick around I was 8 years when I was hit by Shihar or witch. Oh, come on. You were never hit by witchcraft. Bullshit. I had to stop the witch and almost became beggars to my relatives, but I did not give up seeking Almighty's Allah's cures and help get rid of all my sickness until a friend told me to go Umrah because it will erase and vanish. So you had money to spend to Umrah. I applied job to KSA with my is Umrah. Since I'm an engineer, likely I was hired into Umrah immediately, and my first tawaf is really to cling to my companion's shoulder. But I see, oh my goodness. So your main motive to get a job in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia was not to make money, but to go to Umrah. Oh man. Okay, this is the more you uncover these stories, the more disappointing it gets. He quotes Al-Tirmidhi, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, Allahu Akbar, peace and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be upon all prophets in the Muslim Ummah. Ameen. He quotes the entire quote, chapter 29. What? There's so much time on their hands. And then this guy's like, hold firmly to the rope of Allah. When we listen to Prophet, talk to us. So Quran 33. No, Jesus. May Allah bless us with all the success. May our oh my goodness. Yeah, I give up, Dick. I give up. Prophet Ayub alayhi salam was my role model. Don't lose sabr, my dear brothers and sisters. Yeah, Prophet Ayub was part of a bet between Shaitan and Allah. Okay? It's part of a bet. All right. So I think
No, I'm just laughing at these comments.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm just losing some brain cells. I'm losing some brain cells. But yeah, I think now we're just going to quickly go over the news before the topic. But yeah, we had some interesting stuff to share with you. Some sad news I'm going to share. Very sad news that Sinead O'Connor, who was the convert to Islam, the Irish singer, she lost her son So it was a very sad. Where's the title? Yeah. So oh my goodness, this ads on, especially on Daily Mail. Nurse died 2 days after she was reported. Why am I getting ads for sunglasses? Anyway, yeah. So decided to end his. Oh, he committed suicide. So, and even though she threatens with a lawsuit to the hospital, even though he was on suicide watch. Yikes! This is a very tragic situation. So we wish he has the strength to go over this. And he was one of the 4 children. He was only 17 too. The child. He was only 17, and it was reported missing. And it's just a very sad story, honestly. Like it's I really feel bad. And so it was at the Love Hospital. If anything happens, alleging the son went missing from the hospital on a suicide watch. So it's pretty sad and devastating. So nobody should go through this. So this is some sad news that we had to see. So I'm not sure, thinking clearly, I'm really not sure if he was an Islamic convert as well. But definitely, yeah, she should complain to Allah, like, about his plans. Like, yeah, no, it's just that, she could be just really religious, and like, that could have contributed to it. But, it's
And
still
like
tragic.
he probably even asked for a psychiatrist and such as well. But like in the community, it's not very common to go to a doctor because it's voodoo science created by capitalists to help market to you.
Yeah, exactly. Because like it's you already have a very messed up parent who converted to an ideology that's already like messed up to begin with. Another sad thing I'm gonna share is Salman Taseer, the governor of Pakistan, the governor of Punjab province of Pakistan, who was assassinated because he stood up for Asiya Bibi. He spoke against the blasphemy law, and he got killed by his own bodyguard. And the bodyguard was praised as a hero, and he was vilified. So this is what we're, Tribune. I'm actually glad that they were remembering him on the death anniversary on January 4th. So it's basically, he also, there are some tweets by Salman Taseer before on blasphemy. This is why this man, he's an ordinary man, a flawed human being, even though part of a corrupt establishment, but he decided to stand up for someone who is weak. This is, in my eyes, that's a hero. So I'll also translate some of the tweets. I was under huge pressure, sure to cow down before rightist pressure on blasphemy. Refused, even if I'm the last man standing. And indeed, he got killed. This is almost haunting, to say the least. This is very haunting. He's like, Mera azam itna buland hua, hoye padaye sholon se dar nahi. So I'm not afraid. My honor is so great. I am not afraid of fire. मुझे डर है तो आतिश एक गोले से है. ये कहीं चमन को जला ना दे significant. मुझे डर है तो आतिश. Like basically what I'm scared of is the violence, for it can actually diminish the hope that we have. So this is also very haunting because this is happening. This is very relevant. So again, I might be poorly translating it. And then this was in 2010 too. The religious right trying to pressurize from the street their support of blasphemy laws. Point is, it must be decided on parliament, not on the road. So he's a man of the word of law. Very, very a man who is a word of law. when he was standing up for the poor Christian woman. Mullah backlash attacking my stance on demanding my resignation. Rakhte dil band lo dil fagaro chalo, phir hame qatl ho aaye yaro chalo. So it's like basically they've closed their hearts. Again, it's kind of like poetic. He's saying they've closed their hearts, then they would go and say, "Phir hame qatl ho aaye yaro chalo." So it's like basically, first they close their hearts, close their minds, and then they want to come kill. Then they want to come kill us. Then he said, before my visit to Sheikhupura jail, people were afraid to talk of the black blasphemy laws. Now it's open season. The glass wall has been broken. I really wish he was optimistic. And then this was about Asya Bibi as well. Leaving the district jail Sheikhupura to see Asya Bibi with mercy petition for President Zardari, the president at that time. Humne Gulshan ke tahaffuz ki kasam khai hai. Basically, he's like, I've sworn on Gulshan. So basically, he's like, I swear. It's like basically he's taking an oath that, I will do whatever I can. Said the white strip on our flag is for minorities. Our religion commits us to their protection. She is a poor woman who could not defend herself. My advice to mullahs who are telling little madrasa boys that they get a ticket to heaven, grab it yourself or give it to your son. This man had balls. My observation on minorities. By the way, Nick, you can see this, right?
Yeah, I can see this. It's just that it's a really sad topic, so I want to only interrupt or talk if I have a
Yeah. It was very sad. He's like, my observation of minorities, a nation is judged by how they support those weaker than them, not how they lean on those stronger. Every attacks by terrorists on our shrines of saints will further resolve our resolve to resist and send these killers to hell where they belong. And even on the same year, he's like, the page is unresponsive. Wait, so I'll just close this page later. Merry Christmas to all our Christian brothers and sisters all over. We respect your patriotism and great role you have in building Pakistan. So he was a voice of the very voiceless. Why do Wahhabi Ahle Hadith and Deobandi mullahs never give fatwa against murderous Taliban? So they never give a fatwa against the Taliban. They, Sifa Sahaba, are ardent supporters of the Sharif, so the Sharif family, that is. Exit pages. So he's like, Rima show is at 11 p.m. I'll be making my usual charming appearance with my wife. Roads will be deserted.
We'll put the link in the description if you want to continue.
And there's more tweets. So basically, he even attacked Zuckerberg. So Margaret Fosa has a Facebook fame has been chosen for Time Magazine Man of the Year. Guess I'll have to wait until next year. This is on 2010. So this is a good dig at Zuckerberg. So I'll send you guys the link. This even though he's a Muslim man, he was a brave man. It was what do you call it? This man. No, he was definitely a Muslim. That is, Salman Taseer was definitely of a Muslim background, because he lived in the same city as Islamabad. So what do you call it? He served as the governor of Punjab province, because as usually I think he was more what do you call it? So he was very anti-blasphemy law. He was one of the only voices. Oh yeah, Nim Grace. He was a Muslim. He was a Muslim who was actually standing up for someone who was weak. So that's what the big. That's why it was, especially in the face of the extremism and the fanaticism. This Muslim man, Pakistani man, actually stood up for the weak, and he got killed for it. And his, his what do you call it? His guard or his murderer was praised as a hero by so many, which is sad, honestly. It's very, very sad. And also, yes, there was another Christian minister who was also murdered in the same affair as well. So there were two murders. One was Salman Taseer, which was high profile, very high profile. And then the second one, was the Christian cabinet minister as well. So there were two murders. So yeah, it was the two good men, two heroes we had lost the same year during the Asia Bibi, maybe those different years, but yeah, during the Asia Bibi, fiasco. That unfortunately Asia Bibi is safe now in Canada, unknown location. So thank goodness she's safe from those fanatics. Yeah, so these are the news items. Actually, yes. So one more thing I wanted to share, just one more news item. It's a bit of a dire situation. So one more news item. Sorry, guys. So yeah, now drones show Hezbollah. So there's a bit of a conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. Hezbollah is of Lebanon. It operates out of Lebanon. And there's a claim that they shot down some drones, and Hezbollah is an Iran-backed militant group. So, and Lebanon and Israel are technically in a state of war. So this is from Arab News. So I'll send you guys the articles just very quick because we're on time constraints. And just quickly mention. Just quickly mention that 2 days ago, apparently Fatima, the Prophet's daughter, died. This was her death date, basically on Jamadi Osani. Interesting story is that how she got killed. She was killed after it was a conflict between Ali Omar. Like Omar was trying to get sieged Ali's house, and then he kicked the door. Fatima was behind the door, and she was pregnant, and he kicked her and hit her belly, and then she died of the injuries. So that's how Muhammad's daughter died. So you can see how all hell broke loose after Muhammad died, to the point that even there was this issue of like practically all hell broke loose. Like even his family wasn't safe. So that's how bad it was, the situation, politically speaking, of the of Arabia at that time. So yeah, that's a little bit of a tidbit on history. Now I think we're gonna go with the topic of the day.
Yeah, we can do you have a presentation, so once we're
Yes.
done with the presentation, we'll go into the video.
All right. And again, I'll try to keep it brief. So I'll share the presentation. So today, I'm going to talk about the sleepers of the cave, or Ashab al-Qayf. So let me just start the slideshow. Whoops, can you see?
I can see.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to talk about the sleepers of Ephesus, or the sleepers of the cave. So a bit of background. This is from Sirah of Ibn Ishaq. Muhammad was asked for miracles and he kept deflecting. He was finally put to the test by they went to some rabbis, the Quraysh, and they said, you have to ask him 3 questions. Ask him about 3 things, which we will instruct you. If he gives you the right answer, he is an authentic prophet. But if he does not, the man is a rogue. So form your own opinion of him. And what's funny is that once we analyze these questions, we will actually analyze how was he a rogue or was he authentic? But we'll only address the first question because they ask him about the young men who disappeared in ancient days, for they have a marvelous story. Ask him about the mighty traveler who reached the confines of both east and west. So this is what we'll cover in the future. Ask him what the spirit is. If he can answer, I'll give you the answer. He's a prophet, follow him. If he cannot, he's a forger, and treat him as you will. So basically, this is the test. He was asked for miracles, could not give any responses. So after returning to Mecca, they approached the apostle with these questions. And he said to him, I will give you your answer tomorrow. But he did not say, if God wills, or inshallah. He did not say inshallah. So they went away. The apostle waited for 15 days without a revelation from God on the matter, nor did Gabriel come. So the people of Mecca began to spread evil reports about him, saying, Muhammad promises an answer on the morrow. Today is the 15th day. We have remained without an answer. This delay caused great sorrow to the apostle, until Gabriel brought him the chapter of the cave and told him the answers of the questions, the youths, the mighty traveler, and the spirit. The apostle, aka Mo, said, You have shut yourself off of me, Gabriel, so that I became apprehensive. Gabriel's like, We only descend by God's command. Whose is what lies before us, behind us, and what lies in between, and thy Lord does not forget. Interesting, this becomes a verse in the Quran as well, 1964. Which isn't the claim, even theologically, not all of the Quran is God's word. It's Gabriel speaking. So it's a very interesting story. So this is my analysis from my Facebook page. But did you guys notice what just happened? So he said that he's going to promise the answer tomorrow, and he waited 15 days. He waited 2 weeks. And he couldn't get back to them. My speculation is that, he probably either waited for them to forget, or he was searching for this information, or he sent someone to gather said information, and the guy took forever. The Sirah then inserts its perfect excuse that he did not say inshallah. So, as a perfect excuse. The cover. So the first question we're going to address is the Sleepers of the Cave. Now, this story is largely a myth, and the myth it's got the number of the sleepers, 7. It has the names, the rulers of the time when they fell asleep. So Muhammad and the Quran have a chance to explain the details of the story. Or they could have, if he were an authentic prophet, he could have just said, this was pure fiction. He had the chance. He had the chance to say this story is fiction if he were truly someone, but he does not. And he could have also, explained more details of the story, that who wrote this. So basically, the story is from the earliest mentions that it's 7 young men. They're the names Maximilian, Martin, John, then there are other versions. There are Archideles, Diogenes, Providus. I'm probably butchering these names. So these were Christians who lived in Ephesus during the Emperor Decius' reign. And around the year 250, the emperor finds out that they were Christians. He tells them to reconsider their faith. And when he returned to Ephesus, he found out that these 7 men gave up their property to the poor and hid in the cave awaiting their execution. So the emperor then ordered the cave to be sealed, the wall, and he buried them alive that way. So then years passed, like centuries passed. So at either between 379 to 395 or 408 to 450, the empire at that time had become Christian. So a rich landowner, he had the cave wall open. The 7 men inside woke up. Diomedes then came to Ephesus, one of the sleepers, and he was surprised that he found crosses all over the city. So the people couldn't understand. So when he actually went to the shop and he actually tried to purchase some food. someone found that he had a very old coin, and they were very surprised that it was such an old coin. As the story goes, yeah.
Mustafa, before you continue further, Doorknob Head has a really interesting question, and I think it summarizes my question as well.
Where is Narnia? Where in Narnia is Ephesus? Ephesus is in Turkey, actually. So Ephesus is a location in Turkey. So let me actually show you.
Yeah, like my question is like this goes through all like thing. What kind of archaeological evidence will we have for stories like these?
Okay, so Ephesus is an ancient. Wait. Can you repeat your question, Nick? Can you hear me?
Yeah, so I was just saying, like, questions like these, would they count as fairy tale myths that we're just supposed to take as like allegorical, or are they like actual historical events that we have archaeological proof?
Yeah. So basically, the event that I stated earlier, this is a myth, right? The story is a myth because it's written by human authors.
Yeah.
So the reason is because we have manuscripts of this, right? The manuscripts of this story, which I'll actually do a bit of a skip. So I actually talk about possible authors. So it was Christian Bishop, Jacob of Sero, a saint of the Eastern Simeon the Metaphrast. So these are writings. So we find this story in writings, that is, and there are possibly like this. This is the evidence we find is that the story is most likely is a fictional story because it's scientifically impossible for someone to sleep for centuries. That is, scientifically speaking, you would agree to that.
This actually matches with other fables and such. So from Hinduism, like in Ramayana, Kumbhakarna, who's Ravanasura's brother, is known to be sleeping for 6 months.
Yeah. And it's nothing new. Having long duration sleepers is nothing new in mythology. And I did not know about the Hindu story as well. So it actually adds to this as well. That we have another story from ancient Hinduism that of a long duration sleeper. So these legends were, nothing more than myth. However, the Quranic version actually takes from this particular version. And the emperor, so here, the emperor Theodosius, he meets there with the sleepers. They share their story, then they die praising, and he builds a tomb up on top of them. And then he buries them in the cave. It's adorned, and then a feast is kept every year. I think somewhere in July, depending on the what do you call it, the sect of or ideology of Christianity. So now we're going to look at the Quran's version of the story. The Quran puts this story in chapter 18, verses 9 to 26. So 1, 2, yeah, okay. So I'll try to go as brief as possible. All right. So the Quran starts with, or have you thought of that the companions of this cave and the inscription? So now we're giving the Quran and Muhammad a chance. Like, what are we to expect? What details can we expect? And he's answering a question. Or have you thought that the companions of the cave and the inscription were amongst our signs of wonder? When the youths retreated to the cave and said, "Our Lord, grant us yourself mercy and prepare from us for our affair and guidance." So we cast a cover of sleep over their ears within the cave for a number of years. Here they're not specifying the numbers just yet. Then we awakened them. We might show of which two factions was most precise in calculating what they remained in time. It is we who relate to you their story in truth. So it makes a bold claim that we are making a truth claim. Indeed, they were youths who believed in their Lord, and we increased them in guidance. And we made firm their hearts when they stood up and said, "Our Lord is the Lord of the heavens and the earth, and never will we invoke beside him deity. We would certainly spoken then an excessive transgression. These our people have taken besides him deities. Why do they not bring for worship them a clear authority? And who is more unjust than one who invents about Allah a lie. So again, claiming that they were Muslims of the time. At the same time, there's also the what do you call it? It never mentions the pagan religion of Rome. It doesn't mention, what do you call it? It claims that this story is true. There is a big claim, and the youth said one to another, and when you have withdrawn from them that which they worship other than Allah, retreat to the cave. Our Lord will spread out for you of His mercy and will prepare for your a fair facility. And had you been present, you would have seen the sun when it rose, inclining away from the cave on the right, when it set, passing away from the left, from them on the left, while they were laying within a open space thereof. That was one of the signs of Allah. He whom Allah guides is the rightly guided, but he whom He leads astray, never will you find for him a protecting guide. So hang on. God sort of makes the sunlight ray not hit the cave. That's what it's saying. However, a little bit of a scientific analysis, like that's not how it works. The sun just doesn't move like that. The earth is revolving. So sunlight's just there. So
Yeah,
how
I find that a huge issue because, like,
Mhm.
even from this shouldn't be that much of an issue. Even from the Greek and Roman times, they knew of a heliocentric universe, like solar system.
Exactly. And
So,
this
like,
story, yeah,
yeah, no, I was just saying, like, there should not be this many plot holes in this movie coming from a book that's for all times, when we know that regions in that area know full well that these things are false. It's common knowledge.
and relatively, this is during not just Roman times, this is Byzantine times. So this is post, you know, post Common Era Roman, and this is fairly. There was fairly a lot of scientific knowledge at that time. So about the Earth and astronomy. So having this is already a plot hole right here. That and on top of that, even during Muhammad's time and during the Byzantine and Persian eras as well, it was relatively common knowledge of the heliocentric nature of the universe, of the solar system, that is. So this is we're already presented with some plot holes right here, and you would think them awake. So I'll continue with the verses. And you would think them awake while they were asleep, and we turned them to the right and to the left. And while their dog stretched his forelegs at the entrance, if you looked at them, you would have turned for them in flight and been filled by them with terror. So, what relevance does this dog have in this story? Very nice. You just have a dog in the story, but I don't get the relevance of the dog. And you never mentioned the dog until now. And also another thing that happened is that if someone went to the cave or saw the dog, like he would just be scared of the dog and then just run away, and he would be scared of the sleepers. It's so weird. It's very bizarre. And similarly, we awakened them that they might question one another. Said a speaker among them, "How long have you remained here?" They said, "We have remained a day or part of the day." They said, "Your Lord is most knowing of how long you remained. So send one of you with this silver coin of yours to the
Yeah,
city."
oh, and also, just to help with the audience as well, Reanimator, I got a small present for you.
Reanimator?
Yeah, so Reanimator, I have a small present. If you can look at my profile picture.
Damn it!
All right, so yeah, please go back to the presentation.
All right. God damn it, Nick. All right. So we send the silver coin of yours to the city and let him look for which is the best food and bring you provision from it, and let him be cautious and let no one be aware of you. So he's telling him, be careful, go to the city, but be careful. Indeed, if they ever come to know of you, they will stone you or return you to their religion, and never would you succeed then, ever. So he's playing clear warning. And similarly, we cause them to be found who found them would know that the promise of Allah is truth and that of the hour there is no doubt. So you see mention of a judgment day right here. When they disputed amongst themselves about their affair, said and then said, construct over them a structure. Their Lord is most knowing about them. Said those who prevailed in the matter, we will surely take for ourselves over them a masjid. Masjid, I think it just means gathering place, but it's not a literal, like, mosque, that is. And then there's a dispute between the people. They will say there were three, the fourth of them being the dog, and they will say there were five, sixth of them being a dog. Guessing at the unseen, they will say there were seven, and the eighth of them was their dog. Say, oh Muhammad, he doesn't say Muhammad. Say, oh my Lord is most knowing of their number. None knows them except a few. So do not argue about them except with an obvious argument, and do not inquire about them among the speculators from anyone. And never say of anything, indeed I will do that tomorrow. So nice little jab right there. Except when adding, if Allah wills. So he makes a little cover right there, that if Allah wills. And remember your Lord when you forget it, and say, perhaps my Lord will guide me to what is nearer than this to right conduct. And they remained in their cave. Then he goes back to the details of the cave. 300 years and exceeded by 9. So approximately 309 years, he makes the claim. Say, Allah is most knowing of how long they remained. He has a knowledge of the unseen, of the heavens. So that's a direct contradiction. He then says, first they say they remained there for 300 years plus 9. And then he says, say, Allah is most knowing of how long they remained. He has knowledge of the unseen, of the heavens and the earth. So how seeing is he and how hearing? They have not besides him any protector. He shares not in his legislation with anyone. So now, there are so many things missing from the Quranic story. Let's just say, even if we assume they make the claim that it's 309 years and then contradict themselves, saying, oh, only Allah knows best. So now, even if we assume lunar years, let's just say the moon calendar, this would be 300 solar years. And when we looked at the actual story, the stories that were written down were either 250 to 395, again, according to the fables that were written, or 448. So roughly this is 145 till 198 years. So this is a complete contradiction to the stories that were written in the 4th, 3rd, 4th, and 5th centuries. Then the Quran claims the story is true and historical, but the story is just a myth. There is no evidence that this is actually a true story. On top of that, the Quran does not know the name of the sleepers. The Quran also cannot decide the number of the sleepers, whether it's 3, 5, or 7, and conveniently said, God knows best. Even though most writings, it says it's 7, the number. There is no details on who the temperer was or what time period it took place. Especially from the God of the universe, you would expect something like this, some more details. And it also ignores the fact that the cave was sealed up as a punishment. They were buried there alive. And instead it just says that it assumes that the cave wall is open and the dog isn't sleeping in front of it. It's a complete contradiction to the story. Then it also fails to mention the dream of Theodisus, like, one of the sleepers ends up having a dream. There's no mention of the feast. There's no mention of the crosses. Somehow a dog is inserted there. And I actually put this in my post saying in 15 days, Muhammad and the Quran mentioned the vaguest details, and he blamed it on not saying inshallah. So this first question that he was asked was answered extremely poorly. But now, so what do you think, Nick? Nick, you there?
Yeah, it keeps muting me out for some reason. But yeah, no, at this time, I just think it should be mostly allegorical. And I have like a special clip of my reaction whenever anyone tells me these kind of fables are true. I'll play that briefly for the people once it uploads. But yeah, no, I have something that explains my reaction
Yeah.
perfectly.
Now, I'll actually. I think you were asking about what do you call it? Archaeological evidence, right?
Yeah.
So there are different versions over here that I've listed. So Jacob of Sarah, who was a bishop, he died in 521. And then there was the Simeon the Metaphrast, Gregory of Tours, 594. So notice that these times, these men lived, with the exception of History of Lombards, which is written by Paul the Deacon. All of they are pre-Islamic times. This is before Islam was born.
Yeah. And
So
here's my
yeah.
story here's my reaction to all this. Yeah.
This is brilliant.
No. That's all my reaction is. Oh, this guy sleep for 300 years. No.
No. Oh man, this is funny. I think Stops is right. This is turning into a comedy channel.
It's all my fault.
Don't worry. I'm also helping you out with that. I'm helping you out with that.
I'm gonna go to hell.
Yeah. I'll join you there, boy. I'll join you there. But yeah, I also mentioned that you remember the Quran wasn't deciding whether there was 3, 5, or 7, right?
Yeah.
So in a history, I found that the Christians of Najran used to believe there were 3 brothers that fell asleep, whereas the East Syriac Christians before Islam believed there were 5 and 7. So I think the author of the Quran is kind of taking these different versions. So
Mustafa,
yeah?
sorry to interrupt, but just before I lose the comment itself, here's a.
It was about Islam. It was already a comedy channel. Thank you, doorknob head. All right. So yeah, I actually listed a few possible reasons. This is my final slide, but I listed a few possible reasons that the author fails to mention key details of the story while claiming it's the book of Allah. So reasons could have been that the story might have been just orally transmitted to him, which made him difficult to remember. So he was like, "Oh, there were 3, 5, 7," so he probably forgot which version he heard. He probably, whether it's Muhammad or the author of the Quran, probably heard different people. Remember, I mentioned Najran and East Syriac Christians that existed during the time. So he might have heard it from different versions of the story. Another possibility is that he might be vaguely familiar with the story in the most vague terms possible. Or this person did not have access to any written sources or a written version or a complete version of the story. And, or the last option, I think, was the author of the Quran was trying to create his own version of the story, or Muhammad trying to create his version of the story. So all of these are possibilities as to why this story is drastically different from, what the stories were being told before. So, if anything, the it's one of those things where you have the an old legend. This is an old legend that's a complete myth, and then at least it's according to Ibn Ishaq, it practically exposes Muhammad as almost a liar, that he was making this up. However, I have a different theory on this. I think, because it's our topic, the influences of Islam, that is. So our topic is basically the plagiarized tradition. So this is the Islamic tradition plagiarizing an old myth, of different versions of the old myth. And like Stops would say, they would massage them together and produce a different version of the myth. And then present it in the vaguest way possible so that it would conclude everybody. It was trying to be inclusive, but it sort of said, like it was basically like, they did not know, this person did not know they're going to get fact checked, ironically. And 1400 years later, today, you and I were fact checking them on the story itself, or even the mythology is inconsistent. So, even from a mythological, fictional standpoint, there's inconsistencies. So, at least, they would have said, oh, this story is fictional. Nope. Adapt the story and make it part of the Quranic canon. What is your analysis on this, Nick?
I just think that they got to be truthful about a lot of things, because you can't claim that you're a new religion and everything else is wrong, but also steal ideas from other religions. It's just not at all intellectually honest, in my opinion.
Absolutely, especially like when they were saying that this is final message to mankind, right? And it comes up with this claim, but then it's sort of reworking older myths, and we just looked at one of them, and there are more myths that we will look at in the subsequent videos that we'll do. And I think next week you and I are gonna look into the flood myth, that is. So you look so but I'll ask you from a scientific point of view, is sleeping for 300 years or 200 years or 100 years in one location possible?
Not possible at all.
All right. So even from a scientific point of view, it's, the story is a myth, or basically false. There's also so I think next episode we'll look into the flood myth, and you'll what do you call it? You look at it. We'll both present both views from both.
And then also be comparing it not only from a scientific view, but like how the flood myth plays in other cultures as well.
Other cultures,
because
as well,
it's I'll bring that in terms of Hinduism, because with Krishna carrying the Govardhana mountain on his pinky.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'll also look at like Sumerian myths as well, just to compare, and Greek myths. So we'll share some myths and side by side, and we'll look at even the Quranic version of the myth as well as the biblical version, just to compare and contrast. And we'll do that next week, because I know I was planning to bring it up today, but then it's like, no, this needs its topic of its own.
It's very broad.
So it's very, very broad.
Yeah, the reason why I actually highlighted why so religious is common is, sorry to cut you off there, but I was actually thinking of opening up Hamza's Den's video to actually show and to talk about the intellectual dishonesty that they have. Let me just
absolutely, yeah. This is I think we have time. 33. Yeah, we're pretty good on time.
I clicked on the link.
All right.
And it's a private video, so we can't actually react to it.
Wow. Wait, can I open it?
I'll send you the link in private chat.
Yeah. Let me try to open.
See if you can open it from.
Send it to me in private chat.
See if you can find it.
Yeah, because I have the. I can open it from my YouTube account. That is, I do have the. All right.
Yeah, and it's like because they make some absurd claims in there that because we know we can't expect intellectual honesty from Hamza Redbeard, right? So I wanted to be able to critique him, and when we can't actually do that, it gets on my nerves where they make claims, harass people that call in.
All right, so I think I got your. Let me try to open this. Video unavailable.
Yeah.
Let me show you the screen, guys. Let me show you the screen. So I opened the link that Nick sent me. And this is video unavailable. I was trying, even though I'm using the premium access, still unavailable.
Yeah. I also have premium as well. And we also have a special guest on.
Oh, do we? All right,
yeah.
hang on. who do we have as a special guest? Hi, Stops. How are you doing today?
Hey guys.
All
Yeah,
right.
how are you, Stops?
I'm suffering from the booster shot, but otherwise okay.
How was the
Oh,
booster
yeah, you-
shot?
So, how was the booster shot?
No, in the sense that are you suffering any side like the kind of side effects compared to the second or first dose, that is, in comparative terms?
No, it's different because the first two were BioNTech and this one is Moderna. This time I actually got a cold.
Yeah.
So it's like muscle ache all over, and I felt really grotty. But now I'm recovering. Now it's just the arm a little bit sore, but otherwise okay.
Yeah, I've heard Moderna is like the stronger dose, one of the stronger ones. So it's definitely, even my father had 2 shots of Moderna, and actually the second shot he had was Moderna, and he was sick for a few days.
Well, then I'm lucky because I've
Yeah.
only had one Moderna and it's already subsiding, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And hello also to Nick, hello Mustafa, and hello everybody in the chat. Good to be back. It's just, I try and sort of join, and then
Yeah.
I realize, oh shit, you've missed it again. I don't know why the Saturday slot somehow
I know.
doesn't work with me.
Yeah,
yeah.
I so apologize for the Saturday slot, only because Nick and we have work during the week, and we can't do like 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. on Friday because we're working till like 6 or 7 p.m. at times. So
it's fine. It's just I don't know why I can't get used to it. I have no idea.
Yeah. And for us, like if it's on Saturday, it allows us to go extra as well and such. And then like if,
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Actually, I should say you're absolutely right. If I'm Max Headroom, isn't that how he speaks?
Yeah.
Well, we did. I think, were you watching the video? We were just covering the Sleepers of the Cave legend, that is. So we were what do you call it? Sleepers of Ephesus, and we actually examined the comparison of the myth with the Quranic version.
Oh, right. This is the people that were in the cave for 309 years, where Allah doesn't know how many people were in there and how many animals and things like that.
Yes,
Yeah,
actually,
I
let
remember.
me share the screen. Let me share the screen that I was just doing the presentation on. So I'll just show you some quick facts. That is just to.
Allah knows everything, but He doesn't know this.
Yeah. So basically, so I even give a bit of a background. So I even say that this is one of the 3 questions that the young men who disappeared, and the rabbis are asking this question, and then it's sort of like a test for Muhammad, and then they wait 15 days, and then Muhammad, he says that Gabriel comes to him after the 15th day, and he gives the chapter of the cave. So, and then he blames it on not saying inshallah. So the blame was, I did not say if God willing. So that's why. So he was expected to give this answer tomorrow, and he promised the answer tomorrow. And I even put a little disclaimer saying, did you guys notice what happened? So he couldn't, either he couldn't go back to admit that he was wrong, and he probably was looking for the answer for those 2 weeks. He was probably looking for something. He was or sent somebody. He was waiting for somebody to look for the answer, and they couldn't find it. So this was definitely it's a speculation that this probably happened. And they had 2 weeks, the Quran, and then we kind of compared the story. Like there are different versions of the story from pre-Islamic times, because the writers, let's just say we have writers such as the Simeon Syriac homily by Jacob Sirach, Simeon the Methophrast, writings of Gregory of Tours. These 3 writings were pre-Islamic. The only post-Islamic writing I found was Paul the Deacon from 799. So
but nothing pre-Christian.
Which one?
Is there a pre-Christian one?
I couldn't find a pre-Christian one, but I only found the pre-Islamic writings, that is.
Because I'm not sure if this is actually of Christian origins or if it goes back to Jewish or Sumerian sources.
Yeah, because I did find that there were Christian origins of the myth itself. But Nick and I were just talking about how there are other versions of long duration sleepers even in Hinduism. That is, so it's
Okay.
Yeah, that
idea.
example, just to go in as well. Ramayana had, in the legend of Ramayana, you had Lord Ram who had to grab his wife was kidnapped by Ravana. Ravana is his brother is known as Kumbhakarna, who sleeps regularly for 6 months of a year and does not sleep for the remaining time.
Is he? Is he? He's the giant, right?
Yeah, he's a giant that sleeps for 6 months.
And not only that, he's actually like he gives quite the damage to the army, doesn't he?
Oh
To
yeah, and like he
Hanuman's
even
army.
he even defeats Hanuman as well, and Rama had to use the Brahmastra to destroy him, which a lot of Hindu scholars say is the equivalent to a nuke or something.
Yeah, because it was like he shot an arrow that
Yeah.
took the monster. He was kind of like a monster giant, and then he got taken down because he would. So this is basically we have a monster who sleeps for 6 months to a year at a time.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, and we also have Waiso on, like just to briefly discuss why that video was actually taken down.
all right. Hi, Waiso.
Hello, y'all. So there might be two reasons. I'll give a quick, easier one. So last night, Reactionary went live, right?
Yeah.
And he clicked on a commercial ad on YouTube that asked, it was like this Islamic, how to low risk, better your money in 30 days to 90 days. And they asked for a website. So I gave him Hamza's website, Hamza's email address and told him to put it in there because Hamza had put his email address on his YouTube stream that day. So I was like, troll him and send this as an email and send it to Hamza and let him start getting this Islamic like 30-day risk-free, triple your money type thing. And
You're evil.
Wow.
So if I had to guess, chances are Jordan M watched the stream and told Hamza. That's just a guess. Like because I sent you pictures earlier of timestamps that I had just done for Hamza's stream from yesterday. So he took it down within what, like one, I sent you at my time 1:30 and
Yeah.
it's 3:30 now. So within the past 2 hours he took down the live stream. But
Yeah, he did.
so that might be one reason, and the other reason might be that so yesterday they were complaining right when it was like first 20 minutes. Nobody was coming on the channel to talk to them, and they were talking about, yeah, it's a scary panel today, blah blah blah. So I go in there, and Hamza kicks me. So from the back chat. So then I come in again, and I'm like, hey, did I lose connection or did I get kicked? And he's like, I kicked you. He's like, we're looking for fresh fish. We're done with you. So I was like, you said nobody is coming on. I was like, all right, I'll wait my turn. Well, so later on, Pine Creek comes in, right? Y'all know who Pine Creek is?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Pine Creek comes into the back chat, and I'm writing and sending links to the refutation of what they are claiming, especially about slavery. They said quite a few things about slavery that do not fit the Islamic theology and or history. And I'm giving links and they're kicking me. But Pine Creek was, I believe he was copying the links. You get what I'm saying? Like he was gonna make a refutation because that's one big thing that Pine Creek does is he watches videos, copies them, and then tries to refute them. Even though he doesn't really know source material of Islam, he'll try to refute Islam that way. But so those are two. But also because I kind of embarrass Asadullah Ali. Do y'all know who that is? He goes by the Andalusia
Kevin.
Project. Yeah, Kevin, that's funny.
Yeah.
So you've seen his videos when he first started too, and he gave his like whole life story. Because I watched him back when he was like 300 people. But so they were talking to this like Swedish or Norwegian guy, and he was saying that he thinks it's immoral that God would punish people who were born in countries that are more atheist and have a less inclination towards belief because the majority of people are atheists. And so they started talking about percentages of people converting and this and that. So I went to the back chat, and this is right after Asadullah spoke. I went to the back chat, and there was quite a few people there. And I wrote, Asadullah, how does your percentages of converting compared to you being on video talking about fake non-Muslims leading prayers and being imams? And as soon as I typed that, they kicked me, and he turned off his video camera and left, because I guess he was afraid somebody might bring that up. You know what I'm saying? Like the next person might bring that up. But he got straight up embarrassed in the back chat. But if I had to guess, the reason they cut it down was Jordan M probably watched Reactionary and told him that I gave out Hamza's email, but Hamza put it on his own channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you do that, you're gonna get trolled, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to help him be a better businessman. And you know, who doesn't want low risk 30 to 90 day triple guarantee of their money back? My email. I would have gave him my email, but I'm not Islamic, so it doesn't pertain to me. I'm not a Muslim.
You're just looking out for the brothers, yeah.
Yeah. But if y'all want, we can discuss the claims that they made. There was a couple of claims that they made that, you know, they're on the timestamp. So if he does release the video ever again, we'll be able to find it quickly, and people can refute if I'm like saying isn't true. So one of the claims Hamza made, was that, well, the beauty of slavery in Islam is that you can't be cast out. That if somebody enslaves you and, you know, from being a war captive and they enslave you, they have to feed you, they have to clothe you. But I sent you a hadith, al-Nazia, where Muhammad said, only feed and clothe the slaves that please you, and to sell the ones that displease you. So it's not like, you know, it's like, so Muslims say this a lot. Oh, you have to feed them from the food that you eat. You have to clothe them from the clothes you wear. Muhammad didn't say you had to. He was like, hey, if they please you, treat them well. But, you know, if they don't please you, just sell them. So you go your whole life just being sold over and over again, because you're displeasing on some manner to somebody, and then they don't have to feed you, they don't have to clothe you or anything.
Yeah, no, this is a very good response, because I hear this response a lot, saying that, oh, people, we had to feed them, we had to take care of them. But this is the perfect response, thinking, why so religious, that you actually found. Do you happen to have the hadith on this?
I gave it to Nick of Time.
Yeah, I have it. I'll put it in the chat as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
also, there was another claim. Sheikh Uthman claimed that Islam ended slavery, and I put in the back chat. And they kicked me. I said, "How did Islam end slavery when the Ottoman Empire had slavery and Saudi Arabia had it until the 1960s?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that makes no sense. And so then here's another claim. They said that that Islam took away being able to capture and enslave a person through who's a free person because of debt or any reason other than outside of war. Now, I sent another hadith to Nick about
Yeah,
that's not
they're
true
both in the
either.
private.
A
Yeah,
me-
they're both in the private
Perfect.
chat, so you can open them up if you want.
Yeah. So, man, I can actually share this on the screen. Would you like me to share the screen of the hadith?
Yeah, that would actually be
Yeah,
good.
go ahead.
So I sent
All
2
right.
links.
All right. Hang on. Let me just share the screen 1 second.
And in case you're ever bored, you just go and look at the story of Baltimore and Ireland, where Muslims went and captured Irish women to take them as slaves.
Really? Wow. So, can you guys see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Perfect. Perfect. So, yeah, it says here a man from the Ansar freed 6 slaves upon his death, and he did not have any wealth aside from them. That was conveyed to the Prophet, and he said some harsh words about him. He said, then he called for them, and he divided them and had them draw lots. So he freed 2 of them and left 4 as slaves.
Now here's the thing though, they were already freed.
Yeah.
The man freed 6 slaves. Muhammad, even if the man, and here's the thing, if you say that it's illegal to capture people for debt, that's exactly what Muhammad did. If let's say the guy was in debt, okay? And that would mean that to pay the guy's debt, Muhammad took 4 of the 6 and enslaved them after they were free to pay the guy's debt. Now, it doesn't say that, but let's say there's another thing about it says like bequeathing, I think, is the subtitle. So if this is about inheritance, then Muhammad is essentially saying that if you have nothing to inherit a person, it is not allowed to free a person and then die without bequeathing something. You have to leave some form of inheritance, which means that even for inheritance, you are allowed to capture people and then enslave them.
Wow. Like, you're supposed to and it's so, like, imagine the happiness of the slaves only to be crushed, of 4 of them, that to be enslaved yet again. So they were just about to be free, and then they're captured again.
And here's another question: how is drawing lots not a form of chance for these slaves? Drawing lots. So they drew lots, right? We call it drawing straws.
Okay.
So he gets 6 straws roughly. He makes them different lengths, and then he has them pick, and probably the shortest 2 are the ones that are not going to be enslaved. How is that not a game of chance for the people who are going to be enslaved?
Wow, so it was
That's a good point. Yeah.
Oh, it was a game of chance. So that's what drawing lots means, right?
Well, it's like in movies, they'll do drawing lots for a death scene, right? Where people will cut. Yeah. So, I mean, it is a good theological question of if what is the definition then of a game of chance? Like, I've even heard that Muslims aren't allowed to flip coins to make decisions because that's a game of chance. If you take away, how is drawing lots any different than if Muhammad would have rolled a die?
Yeah.
It's not. Same thing. Yeah.
And what's interesting is that this hadith is graded Sahih. So it's one of the authentic hadiths.
I only use Sahih. If I use Hassan, I try to use one that also other sites say that, like Islam Q&A has to teach it as Hassan and that it is acceptable before I'll use it.
Right. Okay, but yeah,
I,
definitely.
I
This
think it's Hazan.
Hassan, right? The
Um,
Hadith grading, Hassan.
I thought you said. I've always heard that you say Hassan.
Yeah, Hassan.
it's either
Hassan
one.
Hadith.
So the one is a name and the other one is. They're both a name, but
Yeah.
they pronounce it differently. That's true. It's been a while since I heard it, but it might be Hassan. But I thought it was Hassan was the name of his grandson, and
it is.
Hassan
No, that's
is
Hassan.
the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hassan is the elder grandson,
Sharp.
who also became like the 5th caliph technically.
Yeah, but the other argument that I hear being made about slaves is that they're being taken care of. But the point is, this is like, charging your battery and washing your car. It's the same concept. You're looking after your property. You're looking after the investment that you've made. You've spent money on this, so you need to, sort of maintain your investment as long as possible. And that's why you're feeding and clothing your slaves. So that's not really an argument, is it?
Here's the
Well-
Sahih Hadith. Sorry. The Sahih Hadith,
Go ahead.
narrated by Abu Dhar, says that feed your slaves, or those of your slaves who please you, from what you eat and clothe them, and what you clothe
Exactly.
yourselves, but sell those who do not please you, and do not punish Allah's creatures. And this is also
Exactly. That's what you do with your car.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And Asadullah actually made a comparison of owning a slave and then owning a car. So that's actually funny that on that live stream yesterday. So it's funny that you would you have the Islamic mindset. But another claim they made, I believe it was Asadullah. He said also it doesn't make sense. You have war captives if you just set them free and then they'll come back and attack you. So enslaving them was a way to protect the Muslims from the Mushrikeen, right? And I was like, wait a second. And I typed this in the back chat. I said, Muhammad didn't declare this because he actually decreed that if a captive or a slave could teach 10 people how to read and write, they would be set free. So if what Asadullah was saying is a true Islamic principle, Muhammad didn't follow it. He thought, oh, these people are not that dangerous. In fact, if they teach 10 people to read, I'll set them free. I'll forcibly make people give away their war booty and make them free. So this argument doesn't make sense.
Wow. And by the way, did you know that this Asadullah guy, this Kevin guy, he challenged us on the Gin and Tonic show. He said, well, why don't you come and debate with us, because we're opening a new debate channel on for Muslims. And you guys from the Gin and Tonic show will sort you out. You can come and talk to us, because they were too scared. It was Rami and Kevin. They were Dava Films in those days. They were too scared to come on the Gin and Tonic show. So they said, well, why don't you come to us and we'll talk? And Klingshaw and I were just laughing. And I actually made a video mocking this. Oh, this guy was so shit scared to come on the Gin and Tonic show and then made up his own show just to show us up in some way. Because he thought if he controls the microphone, he can somehow show that we have no clue what we're doing. And it never happened. It never happened. Up to this day, they are still scared. The same as Jordan M., by the way, because I heard you talk about him earlier. He also challenged Rob and myself. He said, yeah, I challenge you to a debate. And we both said, yeah, sure. Where, when, how? Yeah, I'll let you know next week. Okay. And this was like 6 months ago. Still nothing has happened. So I don't know why these guys are such cowards.
Well, Asadullah banned me from his channel because I pointed out he was playing haram games. He does live streams where he plays video games.
Oh man.
Yeah,
He's
on
such a
that note,
fragile guy.
Because he was playing a video game based off of magic. Yeah.
Oh, man.
That's haram, no?
But
You tell him, kiddo, exactly.
and then one last refutation of what they claimed, and this is an important one for their, because I think everybody has heard this claim of the justification and moral substance, and even I don't really get into the morality aspect, but this is their claim, is that they're in the desert, and of course you have to enslave people, because who would provide for them? How would they get work? If the Muslims take over, how would they trade? How would they eat? What shelter will they have? Well, the Quran says that Allah protects trade. You remember he was like, don't fear about al-Masjid al-Haram, because Allah will protect you in your trade. And he also says that he provides food and wealth for believers and disbelievers. One of the classic examples is when he says, that we give wealth, and people thank us. People ask for wealth to Allah, because the pagans at the time did believe that there was one true God, but then they believed that there was smaller deities too. So you can tell this by the Quran, so Allah says that they ask for wealth and food, and we provide, and then after we do, they turn away. Misguidance essentially is like the so if Allah can protect trade for believers and disbelievers, he can provide food, shelter, and wealth. What Islamic theological point have you made when you say, oh, well, they're in the desert, it's a harsh environment, they need people to look after them? It doesn't make sense. It actually contradicts everything Islam teaches.
And it's funny too, why so? That Ramadi, he's a famous Pakistani scholar who doesn't live in Pakistan anymore. He's an Islamic scholar. He came up with the same argument as well. He said that, there were some slaves we freed, and some slaves we had to take care of them. They would have been jobless. And then now you make the...
How many jobs did the desert have? Like in the 7th century, how many jobs did they have? Hell, even to this day, they don't have jobs. They don't build trains, airplanes, automobiles. They just trade.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. They get the non-believers, the kafirs, to work for them, or the Muslims from non-Arab nations to work for them. Oh man, it's so bizarre, how he made that argument about the economy. But yeah, any other points? Why so? About the video?
That was mainly the whole video that I thought was an interesting concept, that they would just blatantly try to obfuscate from. And there was one other point, and I thought that it was unique. Sheikh said, the Sheikh Usman Farouk said, well, all the people who were slaves during the time of the Sahaba were freed. Look through the Islamic sources. That's the thing right there. You're using Islamic sources. Why wouldn't they want to make themselves look like heroes in a way?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because you're not allowed to free a disbeliever. So in turn, that means that every slave became a Muslim. And it kind of makes it like this idea, kind of like how all of Arabia became Muslim, right? But what happened to the Jews and the Christians that were still there? Because Muhammad claimed that if he could have 10 rabbis follow him, then all Judaism, all the Jews in the world would become Muslim. If that's true, what happened to the Jews when Muhammad conquered Arabia? There had to be 10 of them, right? There had to be 10 rabbis that survived the 600 trench of cutting off people's heads and stuff, So it's like a fantasy of, well, we use our sources that nobody else can verify, and that means that you've been refuted.
Yeah, and it's one of those. It's sort of like how they say it's an indefensible, something that you really cannot defend, and they have to come up with, like, it has to be the most desperate kind of excuses that you have to come up with, because now, as humans have gotten smarter, we see this is slavery is completely abhorrent and horrendous, a horrendous practice. So they have to find some way to justify slavery, as well as oppressing the oppression of Jews and Christians, as well as child marriages. All these things are completely indefensible. Yet they have to come up with the most pathetic kinds of excuses, the most illogical excuses, the most contradictory excuses to make themselves look better. I think that's where we kind of see why they contradict themselves so much.
And one thought experiment that I've come up with, right? You hear this argument that, oh, when the Muslims took over Jerusalem, everybody says that it was the best time for for Jews, like, that they've ever had. It was the golden age for Jews under Islamic ruling. Y'all heard this argument?
We've heard
right?
this. I've heard this argument. Yes.
So then here's the question: if that's true, then why after Muhammad took over Arabia do we have no evidence of Jews and Christians living there afterwards?
That's a good point.
Like, what happened to all of the Jews and Christians in that area, that if it was such a great thing because Islam made these rules? And you have to think, during this time, it would have been during the 4 rightly guided caliphs. So that would be the best time to be a golden age for Judaism. But it's a thought experiment, right? Like, where are they? What happened to them?
And on top of that, if it's such a golden age, what definition of golden age are they using exactly? Like, are they saying that Judaism grew? Judaism made some advancements? They lived in peace? Like, how they define that? And that definition, one needs to ask them, like, how do you define Judaism's golden age? At least in the Arabian Peninsula, that is.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't
Would
think
you like
the
one more
golden
thought
age
experiment?
refers to.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't think it refers to Arabia. I think it refers to Al-Andalus.
No, but but it talks. But what I'm talking about is, it was a golden age for Jews and Christians. They claim that this was
but
a time when
they claim that for Al-Andalus.
Right, yes, because
talking about
Al-Andalus.
Spain.
Yes. If it's Spain,
Yeah.
Al-Andalus.
Because remember
See,
there's
I
a
heard-
hadith where Muhammad is being told that he needs to drive every Jew off the Arabian Peninsula until none remains.
Yes, there's a hadith on that. Yes, I
Yes,
did share it. Yeah.
but from what I've learned is that it was time from the 3rd caliph, right? No, the second. I always get these two mixed up. Umar or Uthman, the Umar Pact, right? That
Yes.
When he took over Israel, they used that as the standard. That the Uthman Pact is the standard of when the golden age of for the Jews and the Christians, because they were outside of Roman rule anymore, and they had more freedoms. They could do this, they could do that. That's what I've always heard.
I actually have the Pact of Omar. I can actually bring it up for you guys. Do I have the permission to do so?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. Okay, let me just bring up the Pact of Omar. 1 second, guys. So
I know.
Also, one
I
more
have
thought
something.
experiment.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. My permission is no. Kind of like
No,
Pingu.
but for me, the question remains: why would the Jews and the Christians require the permission of the Muslims to remain in the lands that they sort of lived in for centuries? Why would they require that? I don't quite understand that.
yeah,
it's
So
yeah, it's
here's a
yeah. Go
oh,
ahead.
you got it on screen? Okay,
No,
go ahead.
hang on. I'm just pulling it up. Sorry.
But if you want, I can look for it quickly.
If you want an easy search, it's Google search.
Oh no, I have it saved. I have it saved.
okay.
Hang on.
I use
Yeah, I also have it.
Fordham. I use Fordham University
there you
as
go.
my link
There we
source
go.
to that.
So I actually, let me just do the slideshow. So this is the Pact of Omar. So I have it. So I summarized it. So
Yeah,
they were
that's
not
nice.
allowed to build churches and monasteries. They were supposed to keep the gates open and lodging for Muslims for 3 days. No shelter for spies in the churches. And if they do find spies, hand them over to the Muslims. Do not teach their children the Quran. No converting anyone to Christianity. No preaching Christianity. No Christian should be prevented from entering Islam. They must show respect to Muslims. Rise from the seat for Muslims to be seated. Not to resemble Muslim garments. No mounting on saddles or horses. No bearing of weapons or arms. No Arabic seals and inscriptions. No selling of fermented drinks. Clip the front of the heads. Dress the same way. Wear a zunar around the waist or belt. No display of crosses or books in Muslim roads and markets. No raising the voices during funerals. Very softly. No slaves that were allotted to Muslims. Not to build houses overtopping the Muslims. And these were 3 other conditions added: not to strike a Muslim, not to buy anyone made prisoner by Muslims. No one should strike a Muslim with intent, otherwise they forfeit the protection of the pact.
But Mustafa, I think the fourth one in the beginning, I think it should be the opposite. Not to teach the children anything but the Quran.
Right? Okay. So not
But that
teach.
would go against the hadiths, right? Where, like I said, Muhammad said if there were 10 rabbis who followed him, then all of the Jews would believe. You can't have a declarative statement like Muhammad say that and then have Jews mass convert. You know what I'm saying? Like it's I look at it as a way of protecting, like the Islamic, because if the hadiths are true, there were definitely Muslims at that time who knew that hadith, right? And if they see multiple rabbis become Muslim, then that causes a problem. And there's also a hadith where Muhammad said, "Do not take your Quran with you to battle in case the enemy finds it." So he doesn't want anybody outside of Arabia to really know what the Quran is.
Ah. So if anything, he kind of wants to know, he wants to kind of conceal the differences, or like, because there are some stories that were taken from Judeo-Christian narratives in the Quran that actually are contradictory. And we just shared the Sleepers of Ephesus. Like, there are some stories that are seen as fictional, but the Quran claims them to be true.
I think it's kind of along the lines of Muhammad believed that the apocalypse was happening very soon. So if that was true, he could keep a lot of his sayings and the Quran to a select number of people, and it wouldn't be refuted. If you get what I'm saying. Like, so he, in my opinion, he was hoping that the world would end before anything he said could be disputed.
Yeah, and then there's this. Sorry, you were going to stop. Sorry.
No, I'm just looking at this in Wikipedia, and there you are right. They are saying the same thing: prohibition against teaching non-Muslim children the Quran. This is quite strange that non-Muslim children should not be taught the Quran. This is quite weird.
Yeah, and it's like they would be ignorant of the Quran's teachings.
So
But the rest, what Weiser was just saying, yeah, there's actually also a hadith which says that there was a boy. Somebody was asking Muhammad, when is the end time going to come? And he says, well, he looked at the boy sitting next to him. He will not be an old man before this happens. So he thought it
yes,
was going to be during the lifetime.
yeah,
And one more that I think is a huge like thought experiment, but it also brings into question this concept of don't teach them this, don't teach them that, right? So there is a hadith that says that monkey, that's a monkey. There's a hadith that says that the Jews had two Torahs, and one of the Torahs was the real Torah from Allah, and the other one was a fake Torah, and that if somebody came to them rich, they would read them the fake Torah to side with them, and if somebody was poor, they would give them the real Torah, which would punish them. And then and even like John Futain believes this, right? And Hamza has said they believe that Medina at the time of Muhammad did have the real Torah, but they don't have it anymore. So why wouldn't they try to? Why wouldn't they protect the perfect words of Allah? And the reason is if they have the real one that they believe is the real one, and it does coincide exactly with their Quran, which the Hadiths claim that it does coincide with them, that there's the stoning verse and 4 witnesses and things like that. Why wouldn't they protect it? And that's because even Jerusalem, where they later conquered, had Torahs, right? And they probably wouldn't be able to find that Torah, and that it would go against their claims. But the real question here is, why didn't they preserve these Torahs and Gospels that they claim are the words of Allah, and instead they're lost to history?
Yeah, no, you make a good point.
Wouldn't that be more verification for Islam than what they have now, which is a book that they just claim is corrupted and changed?
Yeah, and honestly, there's even the Quran itself, like one can even make the argument that what if those Torahs and Gospels were the ones that were burned, that actually the Qurans that were burnt actually coincided with the Gospels and Torah that were burned by Usman, because there were lots of Qurans that were burnt prior to the Usmanic Codex. So it's speculation, but it's definitely a possibility that those versions, those Qurans were just burned down.
Yeah. And I have to admit that Mile is correct. I was totally wrong. Mustafa, you're right.
All right.
I looked it up again because this was a point that is puzzling for me. But it says that the Quran was not to be taught to non-Muslim children because nationalist Arabs feared the infidels would ridicule the Quran, and they did not want them to learn even the language so that they could go and refute it. That's how scared they were of other people reading the Quran. So I never knew the background, so this is why it sounded weird to me. But if you read it in this context, then it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I was very wrong. Thanks for clearing that up.
Isn't that a whole? That would be a hole in the narrative, right? Because Muhammad allegedly sent out 7 letters to leaders across the world. If he didn't want, if people even like just in the trade, right? Because it is said that Muhammad traded in the Levant. If they didn't know Arabic, how did Muhammad trade? How did he send letters out to 7 different rulers? And how did the rulers know what the letters said?
Or he told the leaders, he told these leaders that they should convert, that this was the most astonishing and most convincing thing ever. And yet they don't want people to learn about it because they're afraid that they can, if they read it, will be able to refute it.
Which in itself is very interesting. Like, it kind of goes to show, it's kind of like that weird cult mentality that, you know, you want to show information but hide information, sort of isolate, like an us versus them. Like,
yeah,
your
because
followers.
You're so scared. Amazing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very cult-like situation. If this is an occult, I don't know what is. Yeah, there we go. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we've passed the 2 hour 15 minutes.
Oh
We've been
shit!
on
I'm
here.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay. Nick, what do you say? Wait, Nick, where are you?
I'm right here.
All right. So, do you want to take?
Yeah, no.
I think we should. We discussed a lot today, and I think next week we're gonna make this plug-in again. We're gonna discuss the flood myth. That is, stops. We want you to be there for the flood myth.
I'll try, but it's an interesting topic. Really, it's wonderful.
The flood myth, right? Yeah. So we will
Yeah.
look at
No. What you're doing, the way that you are saying, okay, let's look at outside literature. Let's see where these stories actually come from.
Yes.
And that's quite interesting, especially now with the sleepers, because there's so many stories that were
Yes.
floating around at the time, which we then find in the Quran, because there's stories from India, from China, from Egypt, from
Yeah,
Persia,
like-
from all over the show, which you find in the Quran.
Yeah, like with Satan and the leaf, with Satan coming as a serpent and giving the apple to Adam and Eve.
Where
Oh,
have I heard that before?
So with I can even trace it back to Hinduism and Greek mythology, with Lord Krishna being provided poison by a serpent-shaped demon,
Oh, brilliant.
and Krishna actually dancing on the head of that serpent who has 5 heads, which also matches with the Greek mythology of Hercules dancing on
The
I forgot
Hydra.
the Hydra.
Yeah, and he actually what do you call it? He beheads the Hydra, and then he sets fire. His nephew sets fire on top of each of the heads so it doesn't grow back.
Yeah.
And then there's the stomping. The stomping of the serpent is loses its legs so that humans can stomp on it in Genesis. So we'll actually look into that story as well. And next week we wanted to look at the flood myth, that is, from Surah like 71 as well as Surah 11, as well as comparing it to previous flood myths as well as like the biblical, as well as like the other, and even Nick and I, we were going to look at different mythologies as well as the scientific perspective. Is it even possible? So, did this even happen, historically speaking? So,
well, the question is interesting. Was it global or was it local?
A local
exactly. Yeah, or a local flood, exactly.
Well,
So
the
we're looking
Quran
at
claims that it was every animal. So why would it be local if every animal was needed to get on the boat? But
And over the
I'm gonna
mountaintops.
off.
Come on, please.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get off here, y'all. But I appreciate y'all having me on. And the last thing I'll say is Saitan, the channel used to be Saitan Atheist. Now it's just Saitan. He did a good video about today's topic about the cave, right?
Yes.
The people, his big argument, which was a good one, is they say we're going to ask you these 3 questions that only a prophet would know the answers to, and then he has Tommy Robertson acting like the pagan, and he's like, wait, if only a prophet knows the answer, then how the hell do you know the answer to know if he's right or wrong? Because that was part of the hadith, is that they asked questions that only prophets could know, but none of them are prophets. So where did they get their answers to say, oh yeah, what he said is true? Like, so it's actually a pretty funny video if y'all watch it.
Yeah.
But
I think it was a collaboration. Yeah, it was a collaboration between him and the Masked Arab, Saitan's video. So I actually I actually looked into that, and this was what inspired me, surprisingly, and then I actually looked into the myth itself. And turns out there were multiple sources of the myth. That wasn't just one, there were multiple versions. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on, Wiso.
Yo, Walter, you guys won't change much with 15 views. How many views does your channel have? How much have you changed? I must have forgot how people link when they want to refute Islam or even try to prove Christianity. I must have forgot how many people leave links to your channel, my guy. I must have totally missed that. I'm gonna have to Google like how many views you have on your channel.
Come
All right,
on, leave
y'all be
it.
safe.
Exactly.
All right, take care. Yeah, no, I think we had an interesting discussion today. What do you think, Stops?
No, I agree. That's what I said. It's an interesting topic. It's an interesting concept. It's an interesting point of view. And I think historically, it also makes a lot of sense to take a look at what actually happened and where this actually comes from, because
Yeah,
there's a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
and last week we looked into like the pagan myths, which was the Kaaba as well as Safa and Marwa. We looked into, and
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and it's funny that even the Islamic sources admit that this was a pagan practice.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it kind of makes our job weirdly easier that even the Islamic sources are admitting this. And we looked into modern practices, and we looked into some studies as well on how I think Nick brought the study about how different Muslims from around the world, how they behave. Like a Muslim convert from Korea continued to eat bacon, whereas the
Yeah,
Muslim
no,
convert
I'm
from
known for irritating Mustafa.
and
Yeah,
we
no, I'm
looked at
known for
Muslim
irritating
converts in
Mustafa
Pakistan.
with all these studies.
But hey, these studies are great. These studies are great. We'll also look further into more studies, that is. But yeah, so far I think we're over the 2 hour mark, and it's going to get a bit
Yeah.
late for everybody on a Saturday night. But thank you so much for everybody joining us. Any last words, both of you? Any last words?
Yeah, I just want to take a minute about the video that we reacted to earlier on today, the Saleh family. I know that you guys are a bigger YouTube channel, but I also know that you guys are in Toronto, and small claims like that can be quite dangerous and lead a false view. So if you guys but I also know it's really hard to concise such a broad topic onto one small 1 minute TikTok. So like I mentioned, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. If you guys really want to expand on the topic and have a discussion, you're more than welcome. We're more than welcome. We live nearby as well, so we can always arrange for an in-person discussion if a live stream isn't something you guys feel comfortable with.
And it doesn't have to be live stream. We can even pre-record this too.
Yeah, we can pre-record it. You guys can watch it through. If you don't like it, I can always trim some stuff out. But just having that discussion in a long form manner to clear up any stuff that you couldn't say in a short video or want to clarify and such.
Yeah,
Or just
and
discuss.
just to catch up with on Stops. This is a couple on TikTok, and a Muslim couple that makes claims about Islam and feminine, how female friendly Islam is.
Come on.
So yeah, we're inviting them because they live in Toronto. So we're thinking of actually inviting them.
I didn't want to say that. Like that's why I kept it quiet, but not to like dox them.
Yeah. So we definitely we want to invite them and see if they would be willing to have
absolutely. Yes, this is the best thing that you can do. The problem is that most Muslims will not do that. This is the problem, because Islam is so incredibly weak that they don't have arguments, and this is why they will not come on the show, because for them it's a lose-lose situation, because they can't really win anything, and because they can't really do anything. So it's going to be tough. It's really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult trying to get a hold of them, but Nick and I will try our best. And
I'm sure you will, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, because this is always something that is a boost for the show, the way you are showing, okay, this is what actual Muslims are thinking, this is what they're doing, this is how they go and implement their belief into the 21st century, which is tough enough. So
yes.
Yeah. No, good going. Excellent stuff. Do it.
Yeah,
thank
and
you.
like just if they have any issue with like how we'll treat Muslims if they do come on, we can actually show them our previous experience with Offer Five's King, who came on as a guest a few times a few weeks ago for our Christmas special, and we'll provide you with equal time. I'll have a stopwatch here and basically time you and make sure Mustafa speaks for the same amount of time, like I did on the Christmas special. So we won't
And I
boot you
promise I
out.
will stay away.
Then Stops is like the ultimate Don who will be like, what's going on here? The ultimate demon.
Yeah. No Islamophobes, please.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank
Brilliant
you.
hearing you, and love the spirit, love this the atmosphere that you're bringing in. And I'll see you next week then. Hopefully, I need to get used to the Saturday slot, and I'll see, because normally, I mean, I can do it. If there's not something weird happening, then I should be able to make it. But I never know.
Yeah, right. See you then, inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Take
See you
care.
next
See
week
you.
then.
See you
Cheers.
guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
All right. Take care.
See you
Nick,
guys,
see
and
you
then
guys.
live stream.